PNP Rape Investigation Checklist. Number 1. Find out as much as possible about the crime before going to the scene and upon arrival from the first responder and any other police officer who are there. Find out as much as possible. The police officer need to find out, to secure, to investigate the crime scene before the first responder going to the scene. Number 2. Overview. Take your bearing at the crime scene so that you get a rough picture of the area and what has happened. In the SOCO team, or the crime scene investigator, there's an assign to picture out. It's called photographer. The photographer, he one, he's the one to collect an evidence. They picture out the crime scene, the body of the crime, and all evidence. Number 3. If the victim is a woman or child, immediately refers the matter to the PNP, WCPD, or the Women and Children Protection Desk for assistance in the handling of the victim and to ensure the proper procedure are observed. Start keeping an action log. Number 4. Cordon off the area or extend the existing cordon if necessary. The crime scene investigator or the SOCO team, there's an first responder that assigned to cordon the area of the crime scene. The use of cordon is to ensure and protect the evidence in the crime scene. Number 5. Take a general photograph of the crime scene. Film the scene with a video camera. The photographer should to picture out the general view of the crime scene, and also she or he need to get a video clip in the crime scene. Number 6. Pause for thought and start planning. This is where the crime scene analysis start. After malagyan ng cordon ang crime scene at kapag nakapag-picture na, nakapag-video na sa crime scene, ang team leader na naka-assign ay kailangan na magplano sa gagawin na investigasyon. Number 7. Note down your observation continuously. It is a good idea to use a tape recorder. Number 8. Decide whether you need help from an expert such as a forensic, pathologist, biologist, and etc. Number 9. Take photographs continuously. Photograph all the evidence before it is collected. If possible, engage a photographer for specialist trace evidence photography. Number 10. Search for and collect evidence, objects, and reference samples, etc. that are relevant to the crime investigation. Pay attention to the risk of contamination. The researcher in the crime scene investigator or the SOCO team, the researcher is the one who collect the evidence. He the one to find an evidence. Number 11. Write a continuous seizure report. Ang kanyang mga ebidensya na nakakalap at kailangan nitong ma-ensure na hindi makontaminate. Write a continuous seizure report. Number 12. Check the crime scene before the cordon is lifted. Make sure that you have not forgotten anything important, such as interrogation report. A suspect may enter the crime scene area after the cordon has been lifted, and this must not be allowed to destroy the value of the evidence collected. Symptoms and signs of rape. An MLO perspective. Number 1. Extragenital injury. Number 2. Genital injury. Number 3. Psychological symptoms. Number 4. Sexually transmitted disease. Example, hepatitis, syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydial infection, trichomoniasis, HIV infection, Rayleigh, and last, number 5, pregnancy. The study of Slater, Brown, Crowley, and Peck in 1997 found the prevalence of genital injury in order by location was posterior for cheating. 70% of those with genital injury, labia minora, 53% of those with genital injury, hymen, 29% of those with genital injury, and fossa navicularis, 25% of those with genital injury, relative there to both study of Elam and Ray in 1986. Also, the research of Wilson and Swartz in 1972 show that the most common presenting sign was vaginal bleeding. Most physical injuries are relatively minor, but some laceration of the upper vagina are severe. Additional injuries may result from being tracked, pushed, stabbed, or shot. The examiner elicit specific details. Type of injuries sustained, particularly to the mouth, breast, vagina, and rectum. Number 2. Any bleeding from or abrasion on the patient or assailant to help assist the risk of transmission of HIV and hepatitis. Number 3. Description of the attack. Example, which officers were penetrated, whether ejaculation occurred or a condom was used. Number 4. Assailant use of aggression, threats, weapons, and violent behavior. Number 5. Description of the assailants. Note, the laceration or rupture of the hymen as a result of sexual intercourse is called as defloration. All other laceration of the hymen which are not caused by sexual act are not considered as defloration. Rape investigation by the IOC. Aside from those mentioned above, P&3 rape investigation checklist, the police investigator or IOC shall consider the following. Letter A. General information. Number 1. Demographic data about the patient. Number 2. Name, address, and phone number of the guardian if the patient is underage. Number 3. Name of police officer, badge number, and department. And Number 4, date, time, and location of examination.